drop-in labels was one of my most favourite things to play with. This allows the ordinary to become extraordinary, and it allows an intimacy to grow between ourselves and life, ourselves and ourselves and others. Labels define. I truly believe that when we label something, we've caused a mini death. We've already decided who that person is, what that experience is going to be like. And so there's nothing alive in that experience because it is already defined and limited by the label we have given it. Labels can be a boundary, I suppose, a way in which we can't get close to really knowing, to really taste it, to really experience it. Say, for example, you're going to eat something, an apple, and you have already, before you've even put that apple in your mouth, you've given it a colour, you've given it a name, you've given it a shape, you've got a story of where you got it from, why you're eating it. There's just so many labels that we've already given the apple before we take a bite. So therefore that bite of the apple will be the same as every other bite of an apple, because we've already decided as well what that apple tastes like. With people, we already have a label around people, around ourselves, our bodies. We've already labelled our bodies. We label ourselves. Who are you? I am. And the first thing people usually say is their work. I am this, I am that. But who are you? There are so many labels we attach to ourselves. Nature, flowers, a tree. When we drop labels, we have a true present experience of what is before us in that moment. And everything that is in the way of you, the experiencer, and the object you are experiencing has fallen. And all of a sudden, it is fresh, and it is alive, and it is new, and it is extraordinary. When we can live this way, an ordinary day is no longer any ordinary day. Even though I walk the same walk every morning with my dog, it's new and it's fresh and alive. Because it's a new day, it's a new walk. My feet are new on a new ground. That flower I saw yesterday has changed. I'm not going to label it and walk past that flower thinking from a place I already know it, because I don't know it today. The person I passed yesterday will be a different person today. Something has altered within them from the day before, rather than labeling them. We can have such richer experiences of ourselves and our lives and others when we drop the labels. We get closer to who we are. And we also realise those parts of us that we hide away, that we don't want to be seen as, because we've labelled them. We label good, bad, wrong, right. There's a difference between living from a place of violence and non-violence. But when we go through life saying, this is bad, we are bad, this is good, this is wrong, this is right, there's so many labels that we put around ourselves and others in life that just the weather. The weather is the weather. The rain isn't good. The rain isn't bad. The rain is the rain and brings its gifts. The sun. If we can just be with the experience, we will see that the way we feel about ourselves, the way we feel about life, the way we feel about others comes from a more solid, grounded, heart-centered, true place, rather than already believing we know something because we know what we call it, we know the label of it. This brings me to a beautiful method that we can play with, a tantric method that supports us in dropping the labels. And this is one of my most, if anyone asks me what my most exciting, enriching experience of Tantra would be, it wouldn't be sex, it would be this, because it allows such depth, such intimacy, and a falling away of what I had placed between myself and life and being alive. I had this experience, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, when I was living somewhere, and there was the full moon, and I was on the balcony and just gazing with soft eyes. This is really, really important, the soft eyes bit. We tend to really strain to look out with our eyes without receiving into our eyes. That may sound an odd thing to say, but our eyes just aren't meant to be hard and focusing out. They're meant to be also receiving in and be soft eyes. So I was on the balcony, there was a full moon, and I was gazing at the moon with soft eyes. As the labels come up, the moon, it's white, it lives in the sky, it's just a breathing, a letting go. And all of a sudden, it felt, and this is the other key, because there's no mind ticking, moon, stars, white, opposite of the sun, we come into a feeling body place. And I became the moon, and the moon became me. There was nothing between the moon and I and the moon. And this creates intimacy, a real knowing, a real feeling experience with an object, with an animal, with a person, with going for a walk, with life, with our bodies. If we can let go of how we meet our bodies with the labels, we suddenly soften in, and an honouring happens, a reverence, a love of, a gratitude of, and a true meeting. There's no separation. There is separation because we label. There is separation because we've divided. Whereas if we can meet with soft eyes, open heart, and just being curious, beautiful things can happen. Playing with soft eyes and the dropping of labels, with the moon, with the sun, with someone you love, with an animal, with a plant, they bring us such rich, intimate experiences, and are very worth their time of playing with.